everyone, welcome to Alumni Vibes Up Close and Personal. Today we have a special guest. He graduated from SCI in 2004 in software engineering, later furthering studies in accounting. Currently, he is the Group CEO of Cradle Sdn Bhd, a company that provides startup funding in this country. Let's watch Mr. Norman Matthieu.
Sure, it would be my honor to share my experience when I was studying at MMU. Well, I first joined MMU back in 1999 under the Faculty of Information Technology, FIT. So I did my first year foundation in Malacca campus before I moved on to Cyberjaya campus in my second year. I did 3 years there and I graduated with a degree, an honors degree, a Bachelor of IT, Software Engineering. From then on, I did another degree after that. I did my accounting degree, and then I graduated from University of Queensland in Australia. So before I started my actual professional career after that. When I was at MMU, well, because the course was software engineering, it is a pretty deep course. You know, it's not like a, I mean, I wouldn't want to compare, right? But it was quite technical, to say at the very least. And my course mates were definitely the brilliant minds at that time. I mean, they were like really top-notch coders, if I can say. And at first, it seemed a bit intimidating. But I think what I found out throughout my studies there was that, you know, as long as you communicate with each other and learn from each other, I think people are actually very open to want to work together with you. So you share the same passion, you share the same objective in your studies, and I think you can really help each other out. So yeah, they may be good at certain areas, so I have my own specialties as well, so we work together. And that's been pretty much the theme that really brought me through the entire studies when I was at MMU. So what changed for me back then was that internally I felt like I needed some other skill. But I mean, I have that understanding, the coding of understanding, but I wanted something that's a bit more relatable in terms of everyday work, in a sense, back then. Because back then, it's not like how it is now. How it is now, like coders is in high demand, and then to do all the different apps, the different digital solutions. So that's why it's very different than how it was back then. When I graduated, I think the tech bubble kind of burst at that time. So, but that didn't deter me. So that just made me actually wanting to look for something that could actually elevate myself and differentiate myself compared to the other graduates at that time to really, you know, do something. And I felt that accounting is something that can really play to my strengths at the time. So I was pretty good with numbers. So hence my decision to go into accounting after I did my degree in MMU. But having said that, my experience at the University of Cyberjaya, apart from the students I had, my colleagues, but also the lecturers as well, they were very, very passionate at the time. I have fond memories of quite a number of them, you know. I may not be able to remember their specific faces because I think that's more than 20 years ago. But definitely, I really enjoyed my time there. Being one of the few early pioneers of the Cyberjaya campus, and really get to see how it grows. I mean, it's almost unrecognizable to me today, actually. I just couldn't get myself around it. I couldn't really know. I mean, I went there a few weeks ago. It's totally different now. And I'm happy for that, actually, to see how the campus has actually grown to how it is now. There's a lot of things that were happening. One of the eye-opener to me was actually this additional course, which is not really related to programming or anything. It was actually theatre acting. Okay. Yeah, because I myself, personally, I'm an introvert person. I don't go out really that much to talk to people. But going through that, I mean, we had quite notable tutors at the time. We had Joanna Bessie, we had Manu Maniam as the tutors for that course, and it's a really a big eye-opener for me to really bring me out of my shell at that time. So That's when I started really to talk to people and get other ideas of what's out there, and inspired me to better myself throughout my career. In that sense. So that's the one thing that I really remembered throughout my time in the university. It is quite an interesting part of my career life actually, because that's when everything really started to take off. So when I did my accounting degree, so yes, technically I lost about 3 years compared to my peers who graduated from MAU same time as I did. But those 3 years are really key to actually placing to myself where I am today, because that really provided me that strong foundation, because you're not just good at programming but also an applied area where I can actually use my programming knowledge in an accounting field. So that's how I can actually differentiate myself compared with other accountants. So back then, okay, I mean ERP was around as well. So after I left, I graduated with my second degree, I came back to Malaysia, I started working with KPMG as an auditor. So I mean, if you graduate with an accounting degree, you have to do your time. You have to enter into one of the big 4 companies to really build your foundation, right? To me, foundation is key. So yeah, spent the next 2.5 years or so. Some notable audit clients, I actually audited Petronas as well and NTBC. But there I learned how to be really resilient, really focused. And after that, I ventured into oil and gas, where I got to work with a local oil and gas company. Back then, oil and gas was a bit of a boom. So everyone was working with oil and gas, everyone was chasing for it. But again, I have that edge in the sense that whenever I do the work, it's not just a pure accounting work. There's some, engineering behind that as well. So the work that I produced back then is totally different than what others could produce. So that's where my value came in, and that's how the company can really appreciate my contribution. And then a few years after that, I was poached by a multinational oil and gas company. So I worked in a big program in a multinational team for about a few years as well, before I joined a government agency also in the oil and gas side, which is called Malaysia Petroleum Resource Corporation. Again, I was in the intelligence department, so I did a lot of analytics, did a lot of data crunching, numbers and things like that, coming up with reports. Again, the skills shine through. All the learnings that I had back then when I was at MAU, all those were applied in that job environment. So that really put me, in a very unique position, so that I can really, give, sort of like contribute to the company, because it was a national agency. So they had a very strong vision to place Malaysia as a top hub for oil and gas services, right? Yeah, and then after that, I left for another listed, public listed oil and gas company called Valesto Energy. I spent 3 years there. I was the head of the accounts for all rig operations in Malaysia. Yeah, and then after that, my big break with Cradle came, in 2020. So I was the head of corporate services, overlooking not just accounts, but also HR, procurement, and IT. Again, I mean, somehow it all just revolves, but the key thing throughout all that, at every step of my journey, is about the people that you know and really doing the best that you can with the knowledge that you have. It's not to limit yourself, you really have to go out there and get it. So that actually culminates with my story here in Cradle, because I started as a head of corporate services in 2020. Come 2022, I was given the opportunity to take up the acting group CEO role. They came to me and said, "Would you want to do it?" I said, "Wow, that's pretty big, for me, because I started from a vice president level, right? And then to suddenly come out, okay, our group CEO is leaving, we need someone to, sit in while she's away, right? Having left the company. So yeah, and then I just said, okay, I'll try it, I'll do it. And then lo and behold, a year after that, someone asked me, or the board actually asked me, do you want to take up the full-time role? Wow, okay, this is different. Being an acting position and a full-time is actually very different. And even though I've experienced the job for about a year before that, I mean, again, you know, I just felt like, you know what, yeah, I mean, if you don't take that risk and take that opportunity, I mean, you will never know whether you can actually do it. So here I am today. I'll answer the family part first, right? So I met my wife after, actually. I was already working already at that time. I have 3 daughters. They're ages of 7, 4, and 1. So not by design that they have 3 years apart in between. But Alhamdulillah, we got the 3 of them and they're all very healthy and they're all very well. I'd like to tackle the first part of your question, actually, that foundation. You know, when I was in MMU, actually, yeah, it started when I was in MMU. How I manage my time starts there, actually, because I'm not much of a person who studies after class. I do all my studies in the class, during the lecture. So I will pay 110% attention during the lecture, so that I don't have to study afterwards. So I'll do whatever I want to do afterwards, right? And okay, fine. Come exam time, of course, you will have to revise and things like that. But I do all my studies and understanding during the class. So I really make sure that I can understand everything that the lecturer is talking about, whatever that he or she is explaining. So if I have any questions, I'll ask the question. If not, you know, I'll just make sure that I understand everything. That has been my way of doing things even until today. So it started my first job, auditor, right? So imagine being an auditor, it's like you won't really have any life balance. Because I've worked on Labor Day and working from morning until the next morning, every day for a month. You see that? I mean, do we really need to work like that? That's a fair question, I think. So hence, when I was in a position where I'm able to actually manage my own time, I will always do my work within the working hours. After that, it's family time, or personal time. Unless it's unavoidable, unless it's, you know, an emergency or things like that, okay, fine, I'll take some time. But as a principle, as a rule, you come to office in the morning and you go home, that's when you work. After that, it's your family time. At home, I chase my kids. That's all. But no, I mean, because the gaps are quite near to each other. So for the past, I don't know, 7 years or so, I've been taking care of the kids a lot, making sure that they are, as best prepared for life as possible, right? We're quite hands-on in terms of parenting. Apart from that, I mean, there is some social life as well. I do meet up with some of my ex-schoolmates, ex-coursemates. Yeah, we do hang out as well once in a while. Yeah. Some of them are doing quite well also. So I'm very happy with them. When you go around and see people saying that, oh, you know, you shouldn't give iPads or screens to the kids and things like that. So I figured myself, but why do you want to do that? I mean, I think all the other kids are going to do that. And then if you don't give the opportunity to your kids to be able to work with that equipment or instrument, they may be left behind when they go out later on. So same thing is like, you know, it's like you're trying to protect your kids so much that you are actually protecting them or alienating them from how the world is like out there. Because the world of the future is not going to be how it is now. You know, so my principle here is that, you know, I try to expose as much to a certain degree, of course. I mean, I don't want my kids' eyes to be ruined, but you have to expose them to all this technology because the world of the future is going to be, I think, even more than that. Yeah. So that's, if anything, that will be my message, lah. Always look to the future. Don't harp too much or worry too much about the present. Prepare yourself for the future. Build strong foundations in whatever you do. that I myself have strong foundations in, let's say, programming, in accounting, and nothing will ever run away from that. Things may differ, but the foundation will never change. Yeah, that will be my message. The thing about the startup, I mean, Cradle has been around for more than 20 years now. I started in 2003. But the way I see the government's attention to the startup ecosystem in the past couple of years has been one of the highest amount of attention given to this ecosystem. And I think that this is the most opportune time actually to really maximize, because I mean, we see the potential of what startups can actually bring to a country. It's not just in terms of job creation, but it's also about enrichment as well. So because Malaysia has been a user of technology, so I think it's time for us to actually be pioneers of technology, be the makers of technology. And I think we do have the capabilities, we do have the talent. Resources too, I think we don't have to worry too much. I think where the opportunities are, the investors will come. The world is awash with money. So if we have, if we really come together and really focus on building good startups, good technologies, I mean, all the investors in the world will be, rushing to come into Malaysia, definitely. And MMU really plays a very key role in all this, not just to develop the future set of digital talents, but also to actually give birth to new startups, to new tech startups. The world is digital going forward, right? But don't forget other types of technology as well, that's non-digital. And MMU also, I mean, it's key in all of this. The universities of Malaysia actually, to bring that the new generation of startups into the fore, to fight in a more globalized environment compared to how it is now.